Hey, folks, I'm Steve Brothers, the National Distribution Manager for Waterloo Healthcare, and I'm joined today with by Aaron McMahon, who's with CompX
Security products.
Security Products out of Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us at our headquarters today. CompX has been a valued partner of ours going well over a decade now.
At least, yeah.
And you guys provide all the electronic locks for all the Waterloo product that comes out of Phoenix here.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit, give us a little quick overview on CompX?
Sure. I mean, CompX goes all the way back to 1903 with the mechanical locks, like you have our lock on here.
That's okay.
And we were doing electronics then, of course. We started doing electronics a little over 25 years ago. It started with computer server racks, and then it migrated to healthcare because healthcare had so many servers that they saw the value. Like, why can't we use those same locks that we were using to lock up data for narcotics? And sort of how it migrated over and became that way. And the product line has grown and migrated to things. You know, back then there wasn't networking like it's so important today to people. And then, you know, over the years, we just keep adding better software, better features. Our OEMs, trusted OEMs, ask for features that we add. I mean, and then, for instance, Waterloo has its own very specific features that no one else has because you said, we really need these. Yeah. And we gave them to you.
CompX has been very good at bringing to market some of those features that our customers have asked for. So.
And you do have some, I mean, for instance, this card where it has, you know, one of the nice features that has these controlled substances.
Yeah.
And then you have two different credentials, which I know you talk about that many times when you try to sell this great card. But those are things that you came to us.
Yeah.
And we worked with you.
Yeah. And that comes right from the field. And we'll talk about this cart in just a second. And that's, the next topic is we're seeing in healthcare, the drug diversion is a critical topic with, people, especially in the OR, anesthesia workrooms and so forth, where they're, needing to control and be sure the people that are responsible for managing the narcotics in the hospital have control of those narcotics all the way through the system.
Right.
So you guys have developed some products.
Certainly. I mean,
that address that issue, correct?
Right. Even 25 years ago, that's what we were trying to address. We call it diversion, and we get better at it. One of the things that we see more and more is, unfortunately, there is more diversion.
Yeah.
There's more people trying to divert, and the end users or the hospitals come to us and say, okay, this is our problem. How can we address it better? What can you do for us? Whether it's through OEMs or they just discussions, when they call for help when they're not completely happy with their 20-year-old cards. They're looking for something more current like this.
Yes.
So what we'll say is, okay, well, do you have networking? I mean, networking is one of those current trends, which you offer a network card wisely. Right. And because that networking, people want to know exactly in real time when that door was open, when it was closed, who's going in. They want to be able to pull credentials. If someone retires or unfortunately someone were to be fired or just move on to another hospital group, that they want to be able to take their credentialing out of the system immediately. Whereas in the older carts, 20 years ago, that was unthought of. They would have to go to each cart, hook up to it with a USB with their laptop and pull that credential out. And in a hospital, a large hospital, they may have 1,000 carts, maybe more. And having to find 1,000 carts to do that is unthinkable today.
One by one.
Yes, exactly.
It's a big time.
Locating them is difficult.
Yeah.
So let alone actually the physical of going to each of them. Where now with networking, with this cart, if Joe Smith retires, they just put in, okay, Joe's retired, and we put his credential to sleep. He no longer can open the front door. Now, that doesn't mean you can't get in the building because we know visitors get in the building. Right. But now what they've done is they've taken Joe's card and made it so it doesn't open this anymore. So when Joe walks up, he presents his card, it goes, and nothing happens.
Right.
But the nice thing is because they didn't take Joe's card out of the system, they only put Joe's card to sleep, took his access rights away. Now this device will be able to tell somebody used Joe Smith's card to try to open the cart.
Right.
So, and that's immediate. That's networking.
Right. Joe still lives. I mean, if Joe shows back up again, the cart's going to know and it's going to tell.
Or someone has possession. It may not even be Joe, but at least we know Joe's card. So it wasn't just a stranger with a card. We know specifically Joe's card somewhere. Maybe we should talk to Joe. So it's one of the small things, but it's immediate. Just like if, a door is left open or there's a problem with the cart, With networking, you can get immediate notification.
So the basic operation of a controlled substance drawer cart for the OR is one credential, be that a numeric code or a badge, opens all the drawers but the top narcotics drawers. A secondary credential or badge needs to be entered to gain access to the narcotics drawer. So two people need to be present, or two codes need to be present in order to gain access to that, to the narcotics. So that really is
it's a huge
tight audit trail.
Yeah. Oh no, the audit trail is completely. It's 21 CFR Part 11, which is one of those things you hear.
Can this audit trail be modified?
No, and that's part of that CFR standard, and that is a big deal. I mean, it's not a new standard. It's something we've designed around for over a decade also, but it's just now becoming more talked about.
Yep.
The audit trail is the accountability record of who was in this cart, and when and should they have been, and all those things. And the audit trail, as the audit trail is created, it's created. It's digitally set in stone. Wow. You can't change because otherwise you'd be rewriting the history.
Right.
That's not allowable. The whole idea of an audit trail is to show you exactly what happened when, and that's it. There's no changes. You can just view it. One of the other things where that, again, we talk about the networking features become so popular these days is also, again, audit trails. So now you have your devices, your network carts like this can send an audit trail immediately to any email address. So
you can set a time for
exactly
that to occur?
Whatever frequency you could do it. You would never, but you could do it by a minute. You could do it. Mostly people do every 24 hours, maybe once a week. But it doesn't have to be everyone the same frequency either. It could be, let's say, a pharmacy director. He wants to know daily or maybe every 12 hours. Whereas maybe someone else in the hospital, they're fine with once a week. Now, the report's going to be much larger for once a week than it would be.
Right.
But the nice thing is they're getting it automatically. It's emailed. They don't have to open it. They just know it's in their email. It may automatically be put to a folder. Exactly. But then when they want it, they can go back and they have it. If they ever were audited, they have it. And it's a lot more comfortable going into an audit knowing that my audit trail is sound.
Yep.
And I don't have to worry about, maybe somebody forgot to sign something.
Right.
There's no signing. It's
rote.
And especially if it's a card. And, with your cards, you could do card with PIN. So it's kind of hard to say, it wasn't me. Right. Somebody must have had my card and my PIN.
But
exactly.
It's hard to challenge that.
Yeah. It's like, if it was your card and your PIN, most likely, sir, it was you.
LockManager software.
Yes.
How does that work?
It'll do two things. It'll do one, it'll notify on the dashboard of LockManager. It'll show that this card is having a problem. Anytime any cards have a problem, it comes up on that dashboard. Yeah. And that's part of LockView, and it's or LockManager, and your LockManager program. And the nice thing about that is that it's immediate. You know right away if someone's looking at the dashboard. Now, if they're not looking at the dashboard, it's okay because you also have your notifications set up in LockView. So in those notifications, the nice thing is it'll send either an SMS, it can send an email. You can even make a phone call or a fax, although most people don't use those. Right. But it could do those if you really chose to. Most people, what they'll do is if, let's say, batteries are low, it may send an email. If someone breaks into a cart or the cart isn't checking into the network because either it was somebody damaged it or perhaps stole it off the premises. Right. Those are the things you want to get a text right away saying, hey, the lock didn't check in. The lock is having a problem. It's somewhere it doesn't belong. So, but it can do all of that when you have networking. When you don't have a network lock, you wouldn't realize that you're having these problems until someone approaches the cart and says, oh gosh, what happened to this drawer? Yeah. What happened to the door? Hey, where's the cart that used to be here? Right. And I know we laugh about it, but it really does happen. Hospitals are a very dynamic environment. And
so with the new 300 series lock, the connected new 300 series lock, I mean, it's an active system because it's pushing notifications to you. Drawers are open.
Right. It's active.
Someone's tried to access it.
Yes, exactly.
With a bad credential.
It's a very active system so that the receiver, whoever those people are, can be more passive. They don't have to go to locks to check them. The device will tell them if there's a problem. And it saves time. And
it seemed to be, we're all so busy and they are also short-staffed and over busy. This would be a nice little, peace of mind that they know their carts are watching themselves. They don't have to manually go and watch them.
I mean, I hear about ROI all the time. This is one of those. The networking is a quick ROI when you look at what time is, the value of time these days.
As we've been talking about this, there's clearly an IT component to this. So what might you offer to our IT customers, because they're a part of this decision, and when should they be brought in on a decision for a hospital to go to?
No, right in the beginning. And it's funny because we're talking about how busy a hospital is. And typically IT people are some of the busiest in a hospital. I mean, is the truth. I mean, they work in the background, but I deal with and work with them a lot, and they're very busy people. They usually have a stack of things to do this high, and they have to prioritize what they're going to do. So typically we like to talk to them right in the front end. And for two reasons. One is because they're more comfortable with the product. And truthfully, once they either talk to us or talk to you and fully understand how easy it is to put this on the network, generally they become one of our proponents. And it is nice. It's nice when IT is on your side instead of IT, saying we don't have time, we don't have time. It says like, oh, that's easy. We can get that done quickly. And that really does help the process for all parties.
IT, it's easy to put up the barrier, like we don't want it on the network, but you guys have done all the legwork and have been doing this for so many years. And I've been on IT calls with your team.
Right. No, and it's more about security. Yeah. So the thing is, IT groups are vital when it comes to data security for a hospital. Right. I mean, most of us, and certainly even the staff at a hospital doesn't really think about that because IT does such a good job of just taking care of that situation. Yeah. They're in the background, right? Unfortunately, they're not always touted like maybe they should be. Yeah. But the truth is, they are responsible for the security. So we have to make sure that our Wi-Fi devices, they're 256, they're enterprise level security. I mean, we don't have any trouble. DoD level, we're good to go. So as long as you are, whatever your standards are at a hospital, we meet them. I am certain. And if we didn't meet them, we would find a way to meet them with our devices. Whether it's upgrading our radios or upgrading the security in the radios, we haven't had trouble yet.
And in my experience too, Aaron, is most hospitals are already using CompX lock products somewhere in their system, not necessarily on procedure carts, but elsewhere.
Right. We do many cabinet locks. We do many refrigerator locks. We're the only ones that do refrigeration lock that keeps track of temperature and can lock down a fridge. So because we're the only ones, thanks to patent, we're the only ones that have that. So many hospitals use that in their dietary department. They use it in sometimes narcotics and even in areas where they keep tissue. It could be tissue, it could be breast milk, which is a type of tissue these days. Sure. All those type of things. So they may they may not have electronic carts yet or may not have network carts, they probably have network devices because it is important on a fridge. If mother's milk or any tissue goes out of range, even inoculations go out of range, somebody needs to know right away, and they want to lock down that device so it can't be, whatever inside there can't be used until somebody verifies that it's still usable. Right. So it's one of those things where, CompX does many things besides all the great things you use of ours, but we do many things that are found in a hospital. So the nice thing is, a lot of times, I'm sure your sales staff and your team sees that they walk into a hospital and they already walk across and they may see CompX devices, which means they're probably already using LockView. They're already over the hurdle of getting IT to implement it because, IT did it because they understood the importance of the refrigeration device or the cabinet, whatever it might have been in the past, and they were over that hurdle. Now it's just, you're piggybacking. Right. Your carts go on the same exact software. It
already is there. And we're dealing with the clinicians that are, hey, we're just walking down the road of wanting to, tighten up the security on our carts that handle narcotics. So we want to go controlled substance locks. It's new for them. They haven't engaged with IT right away, and we're trying to help them get the right partners, stakeholders engaged early on in the process, so that when they order the carts, what comes in addresses the exact needs they have for security. Right. So, and CompX has been great to.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. And because we do have, we have 19 of the 20 top hospitals in the country. Yeah. So hopefully we'll get that one day. But until then, 19 out of 20. And if we were to go to 40, it would probably be about the same average. Yeah. But it is where it is. And the thing is about those top hospitals, they do take security very seriously. And they should, our locks and your carts have nothing to do with HIPAA, but HIPAA is critical in that environment. So because they set the standards to that, they want us to meet the same standards, and we do.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. So
we're not going to say, no, you need lower standards because we don't do HIPAA. No, we elevate the standards wherever we can.
Standards of the hospital and what they're being asked to.
And honestly, most of our standards are higher than some of our customers for sure.
So security needs in the healthcare setting are constantly evolving, as we well know. So what trends are you seeing is CompX seeing in the industry, and what are you guys doing to address some of those trends?
Well, the one that's coming up probably sooner than anything else is network. Wi-Fi radios, they're ever evolving. And while the radios we have now work for everything there is now, unfortunately, the world, well, I don't know if it's unfortunate, but when you're designing a product, sometimes your product is perfect and it works great, but the world keeps moving and you have to move with it. So expectations change. So new Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7, Wi-Fi 8, whatever comes down the road, we need to be ready for it. And we have been. Also new Windows. Anytime there's a new Windows, we have to upgrade our software. So, those are the things that we've done most of the time. As far as hardware, I can't talk about hardware changes yet, but the software change, okay. They always do. We always develop more product that meets the needs of our customers. So again, the world keeps moving and we have to move with it. You can't fall behind,
No, you can't.
Our OEMs expect us. Our OEMs expect you're exactly right.
You're watching that end.
We have to be cutting edge so that you can be cutting edge.
That's outstanding. And CompX has done an excellent job for, like I said, going back decades. So, we appreciate the partnership and you're coming out and taking time.
Thanks for having me and asking a few questions. It was certainly fun to be able to answer some questions.
Awesome. Aaron, thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve.